Today, we're diving deep into how different religions view psychedelics. For thousands of years, humans have sought spiritual connection through prayer, meditation, ritual, or sometimes through plants that open the doors of perception. But are psychedelics a sacred path to the divine, or a dangerous shortcut? Let's find out. Long before LSD, DMT, or psilocybin were known in the West, ancient cultures all over the world used psychedelic substances as tools for spiritual discovery. For the indigenous people of the Amazon, ayahuasca, a powerful brew made from jungle vines, is a sacred medicine. It's used by shamans to connect with spirits, ancestors, and nature itself. They say ayahuasca doesn't give you visions, it shows you truth. In Mexico, the Mazatec people have used psilocybin mushrooms, which they call flesh of the gods. These ceremonies are still practiced today, guided by spiritual healers. And in North America, the Native American church honors the peyote cactus as a holy sacrament. For them, it's not about getting high, it's about healing, prayer, and connecting to the Creator. In all of these traditions, psychedelics aren't drugs. They're teachers. They're used with deep respect, intention, and ceremony. When it comes to Christianity, things get a little more complicated. Most Christian denominations traditionally reject the use of psychedelics, viewing them as substances that can distract or mislead rather than bring someone closer to God. But history paints a more layered picture. Some scholars believe that early Christian rituals may have been influenced by ancient Greek and Roman spiritual ceremonies, gatherings where participants drank special mixtures believed to open the mind to divine visions. Others have pointed out that the symbolism of communion, wine and bread representing the body and blood of Christ, might reflect humanity's timeless search for a deeper, more direct connection with the divine. Of course, those ideas are speculative, but what's clear is that Christianity has always valued personal experience with God, that moment of revelation, of feeling God's presence within. Mystics like Saint Teresa of Avila and Meister Eckhart describe moments of unity, overwhelming love, and transcendence, experiences that sound, at least psychologically, very similar to what people sometimes report during powerful psychedelic journeys. Still, most mainstream Christians believe that the path to God comes through faith, prayer, and grace, not through substances or shortcuts. In the East, psychedelics appear in some of the oldest religious texts on earth. In Hinduism, there's a mysterious sacred drink called soma, mentioned over 100 times in the Rig Veda. The hymns describe soma as a divine elixir that brings immortality and enlightenment. Nobody knows exactly what soma was, maybe a mushroom, maybe another psychoactive plant, but it clearly played a huge spiritual role. Hindu philosophy also teaches that the divine already lives inside us. Some people say psychedelics can help reveal that truth, that Atman, the self, and Brahman, the ultimate reality, are one. Buddhism, on the other hand, takes a more cautious view. One of the 5 precepts says not to use intoxicants that cloud the mind. But here's the twist. Some modern Buddhists argue psychedelics can temporarily mimic states of enlightenment, ego dissolution, compassion, a sense of oneness. A trip can open the door, one monk said, but meditation teaches you to live there. So for Buddhists, psychedelics might give you a glimpse, but discipline and mindfulness keep you grounded in that truth. In Islam, the guidance is quite clear. The Quran prohibits intoxicants, anything that clouds the mind or distracts a person from remembering God. So at first glance, psychedelics are considered haram or forbidden. But within Islamic spirituality, there's a deeper, more poetic side, one that speaks of reaching a state of pure love and closeness to the Creator. Throughout history, many Muslim mystics and poets have written about being intoxicated by divine love, not through any substance, but through deep devotion and spiritual surrender. They describe the soul's longing for God as an overwhelming ecstatic experience. So while traditional Islamic teachings reject the use of psychedelics, this spiritual tradition reminds us that true transcendence, that true feeling of unity, awe, and connection can be reached through the heart, not through chemicals. Judaism has no explicit tradition of psychedelic use, but mysticism is a big part of its story. The Kabbalah, for example, explores altered states of consciousness through prayer, chanting, and meditation. Not drugs, but inner techniques. However, modern Jewish thinkers and rabbis are re-examining psychedelics through a spiritual lens. In recent years, Jewish psychedelic retreats have emerged, combining traditional prayers with guided psilocybin ceremonies, framed as sacred exploration. Some see it as reconnecting with the prophetic tradition. Others see it as crossing a dangerous boundary. Like much of modern spirituality, it depends on intention and context. In the 1960s, psychedelics made a dramatic return to the Western world, and religion, philosophy, and science were all caught up in the movement. Visionaries like Timothy Leary described LSD as a kind of sacrament of the future, believing it could expand human consciousness and open new spiritual frontiers. Other spiritual teachers of the time explored psychedelics as tools for awakening, using them to bridge Western psychology with ancient Eastern practices like meditation and yoga. Today, several religious and indigenous groups have legal protections to use sacred plants such as ayahuasca and peyote in their ceremonies, viewing them as pathways to healing and divine connection. Meanwhile, modern researchers are once again exploring the link between psychedelics and mystical experience, and many participants in these studies describe their journeys as among the most profound and meaningful moments of their entire lives. So in a way, we've come full circle, from ancient rituals to modern laboratories still chasing the same question: can a substance truly bring us closer to the divine? In the end, each religion tells its own story about psychedelics, shaped by its history, its theology, and its understanding of what it means to touch the divine. For some, these substances are sacred bridges to higher truth. For others, they're forbidden shortcuts that lead away from the true path. But maybe both perspectives point to the same thing: that the sacred isn't found in the chemical, but in how we approach it, with respect, with intention, and with love. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, leave a like and subscribe for more deep dives, and let me know in the comments, do you think psychedelics can be spiritual?